I ran into an interesting word the other day when I was reading this article on Billboard. Billboard magazine, at least fed through me through the Apple News algorithm, and it's called world building. Now, you may think that this is something that we do in foreign countries when we want to impose our way of doing things into their civilizations and call it world building. And I'm sure at some point that was used for that purpose, that kind of name system. But in the Billboard article, they're talking about world building and they're talking about music. And it seems like there's been a little bit of a change with the way people are thinking about music at the record label level, at the A&R level, where they're less concerned with the little tiny 15-minute samples of songs that must register immediately and the type of thing that gets picked up on TikTok and maybe at the most creates a memorable single that might chart really high, hopefully. And they're starting to look at artists as more of the type that would build worlds, aka make a cohesive album that somebody would want to listen to. That's welcome news, right? I guess that's great. We're all about albums here. That's what we're all about. That's what I don't know anybody who listens to vinyl records anyway, other than the type of people that don't listen to them all and just put them up on their wall or something, that don't appreciate the album art form and don't tend to listen to albums from start to finish for the most part. And that's the way I definitely am. I mean, I appreciate a good single and everything, but the idea of an A&R person working with somebody just to find that hit, that little YouTube, or not even YouTube, that little TikTok hit, 15-second thing that's going to register and maybe create a single, is so alien to the way that I listen to music and the way that I would, think that I would discover bands and artists if I was an A&R person. I'm clearly not. Wish I was. I think it'd be kind of a dream job in a way. But it's nice to see it moving into that direction again. And maybe world building is also career building. It means that you don't just have one shot at making a world, but you might have several. And I mean, you think about it, world building is really what it's all about. When I listen to music, especially certain artists, I do get lost in their world, and I want more and more of the type of music that they create in their worlds. And the best albums, you lose yourself in a sonic world, and sometimes it's just the music. Oftentimes, it's that special combination of the music and the lyrics and the storytelling and what all is going on in that whole cohesive, mysterious package that we want to listen, that we call the album, that we want to listen to over and over. So anyway, kind of an obnoxious term, kind of like silent walking. You can't just go for a walk anymore. If you don't have those earbuds in your ear, then you are going silent walking, and it's a serious thing to do, and it's really good for your health. But I would think that world building would be really good for an artist and really good for a label that's interested in longevity to nurture. But that's my little soapbox, I guess, a little bit about world building. Okay, I'll get used to it if the result is a good one. I guess I can live with that term, world building. I might go on a silent walk later and think about what record I want to listen to next that is a world that was built for us by that artist. The record you see behind me kind of builds a world. It's Booker T and the MG's Melting Pot. This came out in the mid '70s. This is something that's a part of my series Unknown Pleasures. I get people that tune in to Unknown Pleasures when I put it up on the title for my videos that think that it's a Joy Division thing. I welcome anybody that comes to this channel for any reason. I'm sorry if I ever let you down by not talking about that particular album. Someday I will. I really do like Unknown Pleasures by Joy Division. But it's a series I do where I pick a record that I'm not familiar with and I listen to it, and then I come back to it a couple weeks later. Now, it's probably been a little while this time for Melting Pot since I picked it to the actual time today when I'm going to talk about a little bit. But I don't know. I guess that's okay. I am going to put this on hiatus a little bit just because I feel like there's so many other things I want to do, like listen to all the records that I might have missed from 2023. I like this time of year. Everybody puts out their best of lists. I don't listen to as much new stuff as maybe I picked up new, I guess, today from Mazzy and Dr. Robert's discussion where they were talking about new, or Mazzy called them out on using the word new versus new. So yeah, I don't know, weird little slip there. I'm using new, but anyway, New records, I don't seek them out quite as much as I should, and I think maybe that comes from age a little bit. But I always look forward to this time of the year when people put out their best of lists, publications put out their best of lists. So I do a lot of catching up, and I do plan on doing my little top 10 best of music list at least by the end of the year here. So anyway, be pretty busy with that. I'm also doing an REM countdown, which I'm going to start next week. So I've been trying to put that together for a while. They're one of, if not my favorite band, so I'm looking forward to doing that. But let's talk about this album behind me. This was, Unknown Pleasure. I really enjoyed this. I don't often, until recently, I guess, I hadn't really listened to too much instrumental music. I mean, I do sometimes for work, put something on in the background and just listen to it. Explosions in the Sky is great for that. Yola Tango, their We Do Soundtracks collection is really good for that. Even their vocal records can be pretty good for that too, even though they're not strictly instrumental. Certain ones like and Nothing Turns Us Inside Out, for example, I find really good when I want to focus. But in jazz records, of course, I've really gotten into, especially in the last year or two, more than I ever did before, and those definitely kind of set a scene too. The scene the world that this creates, is one of kind of a loose sort of party, unwinding record. It's very upbeat. It's kind of funky. Can kind of lose you in the musicianship a little bit, but you can also just kind of let it play. And I could probably read a book to it or something if I wanted to, but at the same time, like I said, I do see it more of like almost like a social record, cocktail party record, backyard barbecuing record. Kind of feels like summer to me. And I'm not hugely familiar with Booker T. Of course, I know who they are, Booker T and the MGs, from Green Onions and working with Neil Young. The first time I ever saw Neil Young, they were his backing band. This is in 1993. Wasn't thrilled with the record they did with him, which was Are You Passionate? Much, much, much prefer Toast, which recently came out, and just a hidden gem in Neil's collection, his archives project, releasing records that never came out. Like it's a real gem. And but yeah, and I'm familiar with them through some collaborations they did with Drive By Truckers a while ago. But this is a really good album, and I'm really glad I listened to it, and I plan on keeping listening to it, just kind of broadening my horizons a little bit with them. And I feel like I can never do wrong with discovering more and more instrumental music that just kind of sets a scene that I don't feel like I have to necessarily sit between two speakers and really get lost in the world, which I tend to do a lot with a lot of records. I mean, I can certainly play records and they can be in the background when I'm cooking dinner or something, but this album especially just seems like a really kind of fun, loose, outdoor, summertime, good time record. So I'd definitely recommend anybody who hasn't heard it, and I look forward to hearing more Booker T and the MGs. But yeah, that's all I got right now. Like I said, I'm going to do the REM countdown. I'm getting ready for that. Expect that next week. And yeah, looking forward to, like I said, some of these end of the year lists and doing my own as well. Love to hear your suggestions while we're on the topic of instrumental records. Like, what are some of your favorites for just kind of setting a mood? I guess not necessarily jazz, because I feel like that's just kind of a given, but other kinds of records that just really help you concentrate, study, or just you put on as a feel-good record, something that is maybe a little unexpected, because I think majority of the records I have are clearly vocal. If I wouldn't be under the vocal section, but it's kind of a given that they have lyrics and a vocalist of some kind. So anyway, thank you everyone, and I will talk to you soon.